Hello, welcome to Breakfast All Day. Happy holidays, Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, Happy Kwanzaa, Happy everything. We are doing our Christmas movie reviews, not about Christmas movies, but the movies that are coming out on Christmas. I'm Matt Atchity here with Alonso Duralde and Christy Lemire. This is our news program at First Up. There's not a ton of news this week, and also right off the top, I'll tell you, no marquees. Nobody sent any in, so lumps of coal to all of you.
You've been so good. You've been dutiful little elves all year long. So we appreciate it.
You get the week off.
We have a ton of reviews of all the big holiday movies, including Wonder Woman 1984 and Soul and Promising Young Woman. So we will get to all of those. And yeah, as Matt said, we don't have a whole lot of news because we just talked to you guys a few days ago. So not a whole lot has happened since then. But one of the big things, of course, the big news of the day is that it is Festivus.
Oh, right.
Despite the fact that everyone's all decked out in their Christmas finery, and I'm cosplaying as Elsa today, I guess.
Well, we do the airing of the grievances on a daily basis.
I was gonna say it's been Festivus all year anyway.
Exactly.
But today we get feats of strength too.
Oh, that's right. Right.
Hooray! Right. So I guess
my feat of strength is dealing with you guys.
Internal strength. You need it. So the big thing is Alonso and I on Sunday, along with our colleagues and the LA Film Critics Association, we did our annual voting on Sunday. The critics groups are all beginning to pick their winners for the best films and performances of the year. Boston's done it. New York has done it. So we did it on Sunday, and our best picture of the year is Small Acts. It's the whole Small Acts anthology, which it's so much fun. The reactions to things like this, it's not really a movie, it's TV, it's 5 movies, you're cheating.
Yeah, as somebody pointed out in the meeting, which I love, because every year, no matter what we pick, people love to take to Twitter to tell us exactly why we're wrong, why we don't know what we're doing, and why we picked the totally wrong thing. So the idea that there was going to be backlash did not remotely enter into it, nor the idea of but these movies they're not eligible for Academy Awards. Like, guess what? We give 0 fucks about the Academy Awards. Yeah. And so much of the coverage of after we vote, it's so funny because people they'll immediately talk about what does this mean for X movie, Y movies, Oscar chances.
Nothing.
But they'll also talk about how they made some safe choices and then some to show what a group of contrarians they are. And it's like, do y'all really think we sit there and be like, hey, y'all, we haven't made the contrarian choice yet. Let's be difficult.
It does not work that way. It's not work that way. Although I will say that and I'm proud of this, is that we will often pick some unexpected choices in the acting categories. We will more often than not pick the animated movie that is not the Pixar movie.
Yeah.
Right. We'll pick something weird or foreign. And I don't think, again, that there's not a cabal. It's not a conspiracy. I think we like to, be open to everything, I suppose.
I will take our vote for Tom Hardy for Locke to the grave.
That's
so proud of.
Yeah.
There was no big push behind it. Nobody else gave it to him. He didn't get any major award action out of it, but God damn it, that's a great performance, and I'm glad we honored it.
Yeah, we pick some fun stuff sometimes. So best director was Chloe Zhao for Nomadland. Best actor was Chadwick Boseman for Ma Rainey. Best actress was Carey Mulligan for Promising Young Woman, which we'll discuss today. Supporting actor was Glenn Turman for Ma Rainey. Mm-hmm. Supporting actress was Yoon Ya-jung for Minari, which I love. It's a very cool pick because she's so great in that film. And then we'll talk about this in news. The whole idea of whether or not Minari is a foreign language film.
Oh, right. Yeah.
Because we didn't really, again, you can vote whatever you want in any category. But I think that the thinking with us was that Minari, although it's mostly in Korean, is an American story from an American filmmaker, which takes place in America. So the Golden Globes just announced that, they're not going to allow Minari to compete for Best Picture, that they're going to relegate it to just the foreign language category. And there's been a bit of a backlash to that.
And I've seen people who are like, well, you didn't complain when they did it to, Roma and Parasite. And it's like, Yeah, but those are also like international productions, and it's like as much as the Hollywood Foreign Press is foreign, they're also Hollywood, you know. And so if they want to put non-US and also non-English language like that twofer into a different category, then that's one thing and it's consistent. But to put a film like Minari, which is so clearly an American movie that happens to be about the immigrant experience and thus mostly in another language, into that category seems weird,
Yeah,
especially for a group of international journalists.
Yeah, and we'll review Minari next year. It is excellent. So we picked Wolfwalkers for best animated film. Wait, what was our foreign language pick?
It was
Beanpole? Okay.
Beanpole.
Which I have to admit I've not seen. I gotta watch we gotta watch Beanpole. So we'll catch up with Beanpole in January when things are slow. So yeah, it was a trip. We did it over Zoom, and it took like 6 hours on Zoom. And so it was kind of cool seeing people's pets in the background. And we did break for lunch, which pissed off all the awards pundits. They like to give us shit about
how dare we?
How dare we? So you gotta eat lunch. You gotta keep fit and fortified. So that was fun. I'm proud of us for that.
Yeah.
Other news. What's that?
Yay you.
Yay you. Yeah, that was good. And it's a cool thing to do, and it's a good thing to get done. Yeah. It's like a big thing.
It's nice to have it behind you for sure. Yeah. Go ahead.
I was gonna say we gotta talk about some more fallout from the HBO Max thing, but go ahead. What were you gonna say?
No, nothing. Carry on.
Okay. So Wonder Woman 1984 comes out this week in a couple of days, and we will talk about that today. But there was a big New York Times interview with Patty Jenkins in which she talked about how that all shook out, the decision to release her film day and date in theaters and streaming through HBO Max. And she was saying she was kind of shocked when Warner Brothers came to her and told her that this was going to be the plan, because all summer long, they were like, we're going to find a way. And I had forgotten that it was originally supposed to come out last year around this time. And she was really pushing for it to come out in the summer. She wanted more time to work on it. She thought it was a summer film. And so it was supposed to come out this summer. That did not happen. Clearly, they kept pushing and pushing and pushing. And now we are seeing it on Christmas Day. So all along, I guess the studio was like, oh, we're behind you. We're going to put it out theatrically. And then whoosh, they made this decision to also put it out streaming. She was saying, when asked, would you come back and direct a third Wonder Woman movie? She's like, we'll see. And I think she, like a lot of filmmakers, they were really hoping to, cling to the theatrical experience, but having to find a place to do that.
Right. If it's going to go to the big screen, right? That was her caveat, right?
Yeah. I mean, I think what filmmakers are wondering now that this whole first cycle of this has happened, is like, are we all only making movies that will be seen exclusively through streaming? Is there in our lifetimes going to be a guarantee of any kind of theatrical experience?
Except that, like, lest we forget, it is going to be in theaters. It is. I mean, everybody's like, what's maddening about this is all of these directors acting like, oh, they're going to television. And it's this whole thing, like, where, it's the way, like, in the 70s and 80s, like, if you went from movies to TV, that was a step down. And people who grew up on that, they're still acting like it. And honestly, like, I think it's bullshit. First of all, there's a fucking pandemic, right? Like, sure, HBO's experimenting with this business model, but it's not like your movie's not going into theaters at all. It is going into theaters for the first month, right? Like, what are you mad about? People have the choice to stay home and watch it on their own TVs. Jesus, like, I don't, like, I think it's all just really snotty. Now, what I'm really interested in is Patty Jenkins complaining about how Warner Brothers made her change the ending of Wonder Woman.
Of the first one.
The first one, yeah.
The first one, right.
Yeah.
That just comes out now. Like, look, good for her for speaking up, because, she's booked a Star Wars movie. She could give a fuck. I think that, hopefully she has a much better time over at Lucasfilm making a cool Rogue Squadron movie.
Look, I mean, you're right. This all the stuff with Warner and the way that people are responding about having their stuff sent to HBO Max is this weird melange of, like, this isn't the deal we made. I'm getting screwed on my back end, and my movie is too cool to be on the small screen without having first had a theatrical run. And so I would appreciate it if people could talk about these topics, filmmakers could talk about these topics without mushing them together, because you're right. Some of it is, I think, kind of a valid thing, and some of it is just a sort of holdover to the idea that, like, you know, movie impressive, TV dumb, you know.
Yeah, but here's the thing, like, I'm not normally one to say, you know, oh, look at you rich stars. But the thing is, for people like Nolan or even Patty Jenkins, if they are complaining from a position of, oh, I'm not going to get paid enough because my movie is now going to streaming and I'm not getting my theatrical back end, guess what? There are hundreds of thousands, if not millions of people in this country who have lost work and have lost more money, like, that are, you know, right on homelessness doorstep, so to speak. And you're complaining that you're going to get, you know, a few 100,000 less.
Yeah, we're dealing with an unforeseen and unprecedented circumstance right now, also, which I think is
right. That's why there's force majeure clauses in contracts.
Yeah. So I don't know.
She even acknowledges in this article that, like, you know, she got paid $8 or $9 million, which is like a record for a female director, and how mind-boggling that money was at first. And so, yeah, she's getting paid a lot merely to make this.
I would say the other thing is also that, like, you know, you talk about going from DC to Star Wars, like, for when directors are signing on to be part of these, like, gigantic franchises, they're not really the auteur anymore. You know, the auteur is Kevin Feige, or it's Kathleen Kennedy, or it's whoever is, like, overseeing the machinery that they have volunteered to become a cog in.
Right. They're like TV directors. It's like you're working for the showrunner.
Exactly. Like, so, you know, as annoying as, like, Nolan stuff was with Tenet was his baby, and he did, I'm sure, have a lot of say into how it got seen and by whom and when and all that stuff. But once you're, like, logging into the DC, Marvel, Star Wars, you know, Fast and Furious universe, it's not really your call anymore.
I mean, it's not like it's a paint by numbers thing, and you can hopefully put a few stylistic and thematic flourishes into it.
Of course, and you can do it well or do it badly. But yeah, there's a template, and ultimately there's somebody over you saying yes to this, no to that. And so, you know, that's part of what you signed. That's part of what the $9 million is for.
And I think that's probably true.
Whatever it is, you know.
Sorry to cut you off. And that's probably true to an extent with, like, Pixar as well.
Probably,
you know, there's certain kinds of themes and, you know, emotions that they want to hit within whatever fantastical story it is that they're telling. Anyway, along those lines, Denis Villeneuve also is pissed about this and about how, you know, Dune is now being relegated. The smallest violin that Matt is playing. Yes. I had missed this a couple of weeks ago.
Oh, yeah.
He wrote a piece for Variety about this, saying,
"Et là pour moi."
Yes, there is absolutely no love for cinema nor the audience. And he's saying that he is strongly against Warner Brothers shifting Dune to HBO Max, and then the production company, Legendary, they're also worried about the long-term commercial viability of what they are planning out to be a whole franchise of Dune movies. So people are pissed. One thing I had not noticed, Kristen Wiig hosted Saturday Night Live this past weekend, and then Timothée Chalamet hosted the previous weekend. I had not noticed this, but neither of them in their monologues or anywhere in the course of hosting the show mentioned the movies that they were scheduled to promote.
Oh, Chalamet went beyond that.
Yeah.
he wore a Dune t-shirt at the top of the show and a Legendary sweatshirt at the end of the show, which reading things into.
Yeah, so that he's on their side. But, like, you know, clearly Kristen Wiig was booked a long time ago to come back to SNL and host the weekend before Wonder Woman comes out. Like, was there even the slightest mention of that? And I wonder how you pull that off. Like, when you're working with the writers on the monologue or whatever, like, is this like, I'm putting my foot down, this is my little protest, all of us are pissed, this is how we're carrying that out? I mean, how does that even work logistically?
Probably.
Yeah.
I don't, you know, that's so, like, this borders on being super inside baseball, though, right? Like, you think I mean, honestly, like, does the average person care, right? Like, oh, you guys are mad that, I mean, the average person, you know, who's not connected to the business, you know, that, yes, may want to go see movies, but I don't think anyone outside of, those of us that cover the business and those of us that work in the movies and watch movies professionally, I don't know that would really,
statistically speaking, most people were going to wait and watch those movies at home anyway.
Like, yeah.
The numbers now for movie going, as we've talked about this before, most people 10 movies a year, maybe for the most part, 5 movies a year.
Yeah. The average is 5. It's actually worse than that. Having looked into this, it's actually half the tickets every year are bought by people who are seeing at least a movie a month. Right. Which means that at the other end of that, the other half are people who are seeing like 3 movies a year. That's how the average actually works.
And admittedly,
that's crazy.
One of those 5 would probably be something like Wonder Woman 1984.
I was going to say exactly that. I was going to say that's one of your 5 for sure. If you're like saving up and like it's Christmas weekend, and you got the whole family, you're going to go together to a theater with your kids to see Wonder Woman.
Or Soul, for that matter.
Or Soul, for sure. Or Soul. What else do I have? Okay, our favorite person in the world, Alonso, Kirk Cameron. He continues saving Christmas. You'd think his work already would have been done with the movie Kirk Cameron's Saving Christmas, but no,
never-ending.
But no, the war on Christmas continues, and so in the midst of a pandemic, Kirk Cameron once again held this choral singing extravaganza at the Oaks Mall in Thousand Oaks, like northwest of here. And like 75 to 100 people standing outside the mall, all singing, not a mask in sight.
Droplet Palooza. Thanks, Kirk Cameron.
I mean,
look, like if you're really fighting against the war on Christmas, then really the battle needs to be taken all the way to Halloween, because Christmas has already beat Thanksgiving, right? And Halloween has been the bulwark at which Christmas has not moved forward in the year. So really that's where the war is happening. It's between Halloween and Christmas.
If this were really about Christmas, Kirk Cameron could have created like the biggest Zoom call ever and like had people do this from their homes. But no. This is about science is bullshit, and we're gonna spread the virus to own the libs, and we're gonna have no one's gonna buy freedoms. No one's gonna tell me we can't sing in public, even though that's like, why not just also do it at a restaurant while you're at it? Jesus. I mean, how much spit do you want to have flying around people? So yeah, he's the worst.
Well, I was going to ask you, do you think it's about trolling, or do you think it's about a legitimate belief that the virus is bullshit?
Yes.
Or both.
I mean, I think those go together hand in glove. They have managed to like politicize this whole situation to where like, I'm not wearing a mask and I'm not doing this and I'm going to congregate with others. And, and because like, very rightly, epidemiologists were like, here's the thing about church services. You're packing a lot of people together and you're all singing and you're all like, shaking hands and you're, doing all this stuff.
You're getting communion, your mouth's open.
All these things that fall into the category of transmission. Then someone's like, they're coming after the churches. And it's like, no. But, look, what's so frustrating about this is that the assholes who act like this are not necessarily the ones who are going to come down with COVID, although many of them do. They're the ones who are going to take COVID home and kill grandma, who did not go out to the stupid Kirk Cameron sing-along and should not be punished for that.
Right. Or the people at the store or anyone else that they run into, right? Because
Exactly.
I also demand I get to go into a store without a mask, and I'm going to do a fucking parade in Target. Like, fuck
yeah, the Walmart manager that they're yelling at for not wanting to wear a mask, like that, they're putting him at risk now.
There's a whole story in the LA Times.
Want some coal.
Yeah, there's a whole story in the LA Times this week about how COVID's really surging in grocery stores in LA County.
Yeah.
And
no, I have a friend who works at a grocery store, and like I think half the staff at this point has tested positive. It's the numbers are crazy.
That is very sad. Dr. Birx is retiring. Dr. Deborah Birx, who has been like the main person on the coronavirus task force, she of her elegant and festive scarves,
yes.
Who always tried to paint a rosy picture of things, is retiring. She says she will help President Biden in the beginning, but is retiring soon afterward. She also recently went to, and I quote, one of her vacation homes on an island off the coast of Delaware to congregate with family over Thanksgiving.
We should have gone to medical school. Our parents were right.
So she is not following her own rules, as is so often the case, and she has gotten some shit for that because she seemed like a voice of reason at first, and then all she could do was stand by and grimace when Trump was talking about injecting ourselves with bleach.
Lump of
She's
coal for
retiring. Yeah, she's retiring.
Lumps of coal for everybody.
For everybody. Also, Governor Gavin Newsom has appointed Alex Padilla to fill the Senate seat that belonged to Kamala Harris. Once she goes to become our vice president, Alex Padilla will take over her Senate seat. He is the first Latino ever to go to the Senate from California, which is sort of mind-boggling when you think about that. A lot of folks were disappointed because they had hoped that Black senator would be chosen, or a Black woman in particular. And there's a lot of understandable frustration about that. The person who is now filling Padilla's spot here in California as Secretary of State is a Black woman. But I think probably Dianne Feinstein might not be in that seat for a whole lot longer. And then perhaps it's an opportunity to appoint someone like Karen Bass, for example, to take over. So
I would like it if they would appoint somebody who is, I don't know, in favor of Medicare for all, but that's just my fringe outlook. What can I say?
Yes. So, but Alex Padilla's story is really good. He went to MIT. He's a child of Mexican immigrants, grew up going to public schools in the San Fernando Valley, went to MIT, thought he wanted to be an engineer. And then Prop 187 happened here in California, which was so cruel to so many immigrants and people like his parents who were so hardworking. His dad was a longtime short order cook. His mom cleaned houses. And Prop 187 was targeting people like them and families like them. And so he turned to a life in politics and public service. He was the youngest LA city councilman ever at age 26. He then went on to be the president of the LA City Council and now is our new senator. He's 47 years old.
We're long overdue for Latina representation, certainly, for a state that has this much of a Latina population.
Right. So. 40%.
Yeah.
26.
Hi,
I was out
Chris,
drinking
you're in the
at
shot.
26.
Who's
in the government at 26? Like,
what were you doing at age 26,
Tracy
Matt?
Flick.
Drinking.
Age 26, I was married. I was living in Dallas. I was having giant parties at our house every Sunday for football and just drunk. Having fun.
Right. I was single, living in like Melrose and Fairfax, out at the bars all the time. Yeah. And working tour operations at Universal Studios.
Yes.
Wow.
Where were you, Alonso, at age 26?
I was living in LA. It was the first time that I moved here. And yeah, I was single. I was reviewing movies for a bar rag called Planet Homo. And yeah, that was back when I still went out at nights.
We were all fun back then. Anyways, Alex Padilla, he's coming. Fun. Did you guys see this crazy story in Elle magazine about Martin Shkreli?
I can't.
Did you read it, Matt? It's long. I read it.
I started it and I was like, I can't.
Well, it's fucking stupid, but because it's everything you shouldn't do as a journalist.
Right.
And the perspective on it is really strange. Like that they gave this woman this whole platform to explain why she tossed aside her marriage and her career for Pharma bro Martin Shkreli.
Of all people, yeah.
Yes, her name is Christy Smith, and she was a writer for Bloomberg, and she covered Martin Shkreli. She covered his initial arrest and his trial, and he opened up to her in a way that made her feel very special, and it went far beyond like a reporter and a source. And her husband was like, "What are you doing? Why? He's just using you." And she's like, no, he really trusts me. And eventually she left her husband for him. She would go visit Martin Shkreli in prison. They told each other they loved each other in the visiting room and kissed for the first time with the scent of chicken wings in the background. And then she thought they were going to get married.
Man, don't let her talk to Keith Raniere.
Right? Right? She would be easy pickings for Vanguard.
Yikes. So,
it's the whole idea of like this narcissist makes you feel special. Like he hates everyone, but he likes you. And the way she describes before his imprisonment, what it was like to be out with him, with his followers. She said she felt like a political wife. So you can see there's like this stunted kind of sense of glamour. Yeah, like, but the attention of it was very exciting to her. And then he found out that she was doing this big long interview with Elle magazine about their relationship. And he sent the most terse, dismissive response. He hasn't talked to her since he found out that she did this interview. He's cut off all communication with her. And it was something like, Mr. Shkreli wishes Miss Smith all the best of luck in her future endeavors.
Bye, Felicia.
I mean, and then she has since talked about the article. It's all come full circle. And now she complains about the fact that she doesn't like the tone of the article.
Oh, brother. Well, couples should communicate more. So, if he really didn't want her to give any interviews about the relationship, then he should have been upfront about that with her rather than break up with her once he found out it was happening.
I just don't know what her motivation was. Like, so she tried to write a memoir about him. She tried to sell a book. She couldn't get the book sold. She sold the rights to the movie. No one's making the movie. So I wonder if this is like yet another attempt to just like cash in on the access.
Is this a prison pen pal situation? Like,
No, they fell in love before then.
Okay.
They fell in love when he was still free. And she covered his trial.
Right? Okay.
She covered his trial, and she like got to know all of his followers, and she told herself
bullshit.
Totally. She told herself that she was getting all that close to everybody around him because she wanted to use them as sources down the road for his book. But she was actually just like enamored of this person and this fame he cultivated.
Maybe she just really wanted to hear that Wu-Tang album.
$2 million. I mean, anyone who could spend $2 million and thinks you're special is very exciting.
I mean, so, lest we forget, when you stare into the abyss stares back.
Anyway, got a couple more things for you because we got to get to movies. We've got a lot to talk about today. John Mulaney has checked into rehab. He has been very candid over the years about his struggles with substance abuse. He has checked into rehab for cocaine and alcohol. He talked in an article in Esquire in 2019 about how he felt like a nerdy kid and started drinking at age 12 and found that, when I drank, I was funny, and how he was never athletic, but he could do like 3 Vicodin and a bunch of tequila and still be standing. And so that was like a huge part of his persona, like the swagger of that and the humor of that. And so he is back in rehab again. So thinking of you, best wishes for you, John Mulaney. Good for you.
And he was also really going out of his way to be kind of Pete Davidson's sort of sponsor, I think, in a lot of Pete Davidson's recovery. So, he's been trying to pay it forward. Real quick, Christy, do you have the thing about the $15 billion aid for movie theaters?
I don't. Please tell me about that.
In the most recent COVID relief package, the one that's going to give us a grand $600 each, it says the package will include upwards of $15 billion in funding that is to be used to help keep movie theaters and other live entertainment venues afloat through the end of the pandemic.
Is this the Amy Klobuchar part of the legislation?
No, it was already in there, I think.
I know she was a big like Save Our Stages.
It was just part of the part of the
so
CARES
Live
Act.
Nation and AMC will get a big chunk of cash that all goes to the executives and the frontline people working. Those venues will get nothing, and they'll buy back stock, and
It doesn't say that, but yes.
It doesn't say that yet.
I hope not. Also a very fun read today. If you've got a little bit of time, our friend Matt Singer turned 40 today.
Yes, he did.
Longtime film
birthday,
critic Matt Singer. He wrote a really cool piece where he picked one movie from every year of his life that was important to him. So it's like a graph here and there about when he first saw it, or doing a junket for the movie and meeting somebody in the elevator involved with it, or whatever it was. And it's a cool mix of stuff like Empire Strikes Back and The Wrath of Khan and Jim Cotta, which is terrible, but he famously loves.
He's obsessed with Jim Cotta.
Yeah, but then it's stuff like he explains why Private Life is on there because it's about fertility struggles, and like he and his wife had trouble having children at first, and so he understood that. Inside Out is on there, and his daughter's name happens to be Riley. So it's a fun read if you have time for that. And then, of course, it's Christmas in a couple of days. What are we all doing for Christmas?
staying home. I've got a Zoom call set up with my sibling. My siblings and I have been doing a Zoom call every Sunday afternoon just for this whole thing, and we're having one on Christmas Day. And we have a couple of friends who are going to come over one at a time on the balcony at a distance to have some special times. How about y'all?
What are you doing, Matt?
Same thing we do every night, Pinky. Stay home and try and not get sick. Yeah, pretty much that's it. Like, we're just sticking around. Like, I'm probably going to do some calls with the family, but we're not going anywhere. We're here.
Yeah. We'll probably go for a run in the morning. We'll do like our own like little Christmas 5K in the neighborhood, whatever. And then Nick will sit on his ass as he is in the background right here. There he is playing a video game. He's going to do that. I'm going to make some like little Christmassy breakfast frittata thing. And then we're making beef stew for dinner. And that's it. We're going to just stay home. As I hope a lot of people are doing. Hopefully a lot of you folks are.
Yeah, I might be making the, what is it? The eggs, the baked eggs and prosciutto nests again.
That was good.
Those are so good.
Yeah. Maybe I'll make that for breakfast for everybody.
Have you guys seen the California PSA, love means staying away at Christmas?
No.
It's part of a whole campaign, and I hope it has some traction, because we certainly saw a post-Thanksgiving spike. I shudder to think what we're looking at after Christmas if people are going to keep ignoring this and decide they're going to gather together with family. This is not the year to do it.
Yes. This is our last episode of the year. We'll come back in a couple of weeks. And we look forward to seeing you. So be safe until then. It's been a trip doing all this over Zoom with you guys. I can't wait to see you in person again. I hope it happens soon in the new year.
Indeed. And getting that vaccination.
Not.
Yeah, but at some point or other, who knows? But anyway.
I think it's going to have been a year. I think it'll be straight up a year before we
at least.
to the right person.
Oh,
again.
for sure. No question. Yeah. Anyway, you guys have a great holiday, however it is you spend it. And may we all have a much better 2021. Thanks for watching. Like this video, subscribe to our YouTube channel, follow us at BeFastAllDay on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook, and check out our Patreon page at patreon.com/BeFastAllDay. Today we'll be reviewing the holiday classic that our subscribers picked, and that would be 1974's Black Christmas. So see you guys over there. Until next time, bye.